Welcome to another episode of Health Recoded. I'm Alex, I'm your nurse, and today I'm talking with Jacquie Lupro from SoulJoy Reiki here in Phoenix. And she's going to teach us everything we need to know about Reiki, how energy can move through and heal the body, and how that affects our health. Let's dig in. Thank you for taking the time to speak with me today. I'm excited.
You're welcome. Me too.
Yeah, you're going to have a lot to share.
I hope so.
I've already learned a lot from you just in the 2 times that we've met.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. I feel like our energy has been really good, like from the get-go.
100%.
So, yeah, that's why I want to talk to you. Like after I left last time, I was like, yeah, we need to have a conversation. That'll be good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
So, I know you want to do like your education and stuff and everything. So, can you talk about what you currently do?
What it related to Reiki specifically.
Yeah.
So, I'm in the middle of building a Reiki training program, an online on-demand Reiki training program for people. And I also see one-on-one clients. And we do Reiki sessions. Sometimes we do cord cutting. Sometimes we do soul retrievals.
Soul retrievals.
Yeah.
I haven't heard of that. Okay, I'm going to put a pin in that.
Okay.
So what is Reiki specifically for people who wouldn't know even about it, what it is?
Reiki is, the Ray is universal life force, universal, and then the key is life force energy. So universal life force energy. And that sounds kind of woo-woo, but it's a high vibrational positive energy that the practitioner channels through their hands. So I always say, think of it as a prayer, so I'm just channeling that high vibrational energy into the client to help move their energy.
I feel like Reiki has to be woo-woo, though.
It is kind of woo-woo.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I try to make it not woo-woo as much as I can, but I start talking about high vibrational and it turns into woo-woo.
But it's a balance of both, because you still get a physical response, right? What is, if you step away from the woo-woo, what is the less ethereal side of it?
It's relaxing.
Okay.
It helps your body get into a relaxed state so that you can have healing, mental healing, physical healing, spiritual healing.
Okay. What typically brings people to Reiki?
That's a really good question. Most of the time I'm getting people who are in a transition or in a crisis.
Okay.
They will come, they're stuck.
Yeah.
I don't know where to go, or they're in the middle of a breakup, or they're changing careers, or they've experienced a death, or life just is chaotic.
Lifing.
Yeah, a lot of people come to me when they have severe anxiety, because Reiki helps a ton with reducing stress, just due to the natural relaxation of it. Of
just like laying on the table and breathing and everything, or
not that by itself. It's the Reiki puts them into really a meditative state.
Okay.
A first client, sometimes they go completely out and relaxed. I call it checking out, going to sleep. Other times they're in their head because they've never done it before, and they're thinking, they're feeling a tingling, and then they are trying to justify it, or they start to fall asleep, and then they they kind of freak out because they're like, they feel like they're losing control because they're relaxing so much.
What is the typical, I know this is kind of a silly question, there's no typical experience, but what can be the typical expectation that people should know about when they're going into a session? Like, what do you tell people to expect?
I have a laundry list that I go through in my head, a little checklist.
Yeah.
I say, expect nothing, in terms of all of the things that you can experience, but know that this is the list of things that you can experience. So first and foremost, relaxation.
Yeah.
Sometimes they can feel like they're melting into the table. Sometimes they can feel like they're floating off of the table. So a lightness or a heaviness. Almost every client gets gurgling in their tummy because that's just the energy that's moving, and shifting. They can have emotional releases. Every single time I'm on the Reiki table, I cry, and I don't know why I'm crying, and I don't even care why I'm crying. All I know is it's just
coming out.
It's an energetic release, and that's what the Reiki does, is releases the energy, and it moves and shifts in different ways for different people. So some people can feel emotional, really peaceful and relaxed. Trying to think of I know there's others. Oh, heat. People can feel waves of heat, waves of cool. And again, that's just all the energy that's moving.
I always find it fascinating, the physical reaction that's going on. It's like you said, woo-woo, like it doesn't really make sense, but you're experiencing it and it's real what you're experiencing, but you're not actually laying hands on somebody, or, well, sometimes you are.
Sometimes. Some practitioners are hands-on. I'm hands-off, but I will touch your feet, your shoulders, and your head. But everywhere else is above the body.
Okay. What is that like on your side, like moving through? Because you're touching different areas and then you're moving through the energy fields. Like, what does that process look like?
So we're energetic beings, and we have everyone's heard that term aura. So you have like about a 6-foot aura. And so I'm going through the client's aura, and I'm also going through their main chakras system. So each one of those main chakra systems has symbolism. And so based on how the energy is flowing in those areas, I will get feedback on, if I'm not feeling a big flow of energy, I'll know that there's something going on in that area of their life. And that will give me an opportunity to give feedback at the end of the session.
What do the different areas mean?
You've got your root chakra, so that's grounding and security. You've got your sacral chakra, that's basically like creativity, sensuality. Your solar plexus is about here, and that's like confidence, willpower, kind of your sense of self. Your heart chakra, so relationships, love, community, and your throat, which is your voice. If you're speaking your voice, a lot of times people will come in. That's one of the things that people experience on the table that I forgot to mention is like coughing or clearing their throat. And they'll get self-conscious of it because they're coughing the whole time. But I'm like, no, this is part of it.
Yeah, keep doing it.
You're clearing your throat chakra is really what's happening because somewhere in your life you're not speaking up, right? You're holding back. So there's the throat and then the third eye. And the third eye is kind of like think of it as like your intuitive abilities, your ability to see the big picture, to see beyond the obvious. And then your crown chakra, which is your above your head, and it's spirituality, your connection to spirit.
So you don't know, you're just getting an intuition that there's a tightness in the area to look further?
Not an intuition. I can feel the flow of energy, how the Reiki's flowing. So it's that part to me is not intuitive because you can feel it. My hands tingle. It's almost like electricity.
Okay.
Because it's energy.
Yeah.
And I mean, my hands are kind of tingling right now. So as I'm on a certain chakra, sometimes the energy is really robust. Other times I'm thinking, hey, come on, wake up, I'm in there. And that's when you'll see me pull out my drums or my rattles to help me move the energy. And so our first session, I was like, whoa, your energy is off the hook. I mean, you were just popping off in every area and energy was flowing amazing. But other clients, I'm like, damn, you're making me work. You're making me work hard. And it's really not me. Like, I'm not giving anything of myself other than my time. But as a practitioner and wanting you to have the best result, I'm really working hard to clear that energy that's stuck.
How do you learn that?
Through training and practice.
Okay.
So I started my journey in 2013, 14, right after I got divorced. So on my own healing journey, I ended up seeking out support. I was specific about looking for how to trust my intuition. And I ended up working with a shamanic practitioner in Seward Park, Seattle. It's a little suburb of Seattle neighborhood. It's the cutest neighborhood. Anyway, I went and saw her, and she was doing Reiki on me. And then she had classes that she offered. And so I signed up for one of her classes, which was Reiki level 1 and 2. And the second I learned it, I knew that that's what I wanted to do. So I ended up practicing for a couple of years on anybody and everybody that would let me.
Yeah.
All my friends, all the skeptics, everybody. And you can do it, in person, you can do it remote. That's a whole nother conversation. So anybody and everybody that was willing, I just practiced and practiced and practiced. And over time, you start, then I guess it probably does become intuitive because I've learned to trust my intuition, which I exactly set out for.
Yeah.
You're actually helping me connect the dots there. So, yeah, it is intuitive, but it's practice, right? Yeah.
That's really cool. I didn't know that was your background with it.
Yeah, and then I guess after practicing for so long, I got certified Reiki Master certification, which allows me to teach. So that's like level 3.
Oh. So there's actually a certification for it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah.
So if somebody's going to go find a practitioner, what do they need to look for? Do you have to have that in order to offer service?
No, that's a good question. No,
Okay.
you don't have to be a Reiki master, but what happens is you are attuned, so you have an attunement. I call it woo woo, beep bop boop. I tap you, and now you can do Reiki.
Yeah.
Do I know if people can do Reiki without that attunement? I don't know, because I've not experienced that. But so the level 1, level 2 is a certain vibration, a certain energy. Once you get to Reiki master, that energy increases, so it's stronger. So somebody who's a Reiki level 1 or 2 might not have as strong of healing energy as, say, a Reiki master.
And so would that credential need to be listed if you go find a new practitioner somewhere?
Yeah, they would call themselves a Reiki master.
But only for level 3?
A Reiki master means level 3.
Okay.
They're synonymous with each other.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay. I didn't know it was actually a credential. I wanted to say Reiki Master, but I thought that's kind of woo. Is that weird? Is that what it's actually called? So it's good to know it's actually the title.
Yeah, some people could say Reiki level 3, but in the industry, it's Reiki master.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anybody below that would be just a practitioner?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that a Reiki level 1 or 2 is less than a 3,
Yeah.
because there's amazing healers out there all over the place.
Yeah.
But just something to be aware of. There are different levels to it.
That's cool to know. Yeah, when I was looking around, I didn't know all of that. So I kind of looked into what I found.
Does that match up with what you found?
Like, meaning when I found you, that it was a right fit.
Oh.
Yeah, because I was very diligent about going through and trying to find somebody, because I know sometimes people can just say that they do something, they don't actually do it. And like, particularly as a nurse, for me, having credentials and backing that up with the experience and education is very important, because I've worked with a lot of people who don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
So just going into something like Reiki, because it balances that physical and metaphysical, just finding somebody that was safe and knew what they were doing was important.
And I like that you brought that up, because that's super important when somebody's looking for a Reiki practitioner. They need to resonate with their healer.
Yeah.
And it just takes time and research, and you'll know when you find that person that resonates with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not for you. Yay.
Yeah. I was looking around. There was one that I was about to go with. I was like, I don't know. And then I found yours. I was like, no, we need to do this one. And I was like, I'm down here in Chandler and you're all the way up here. I was like, I don't care. Like, it's fine. It's fine. It's going to work. It's going to be great. And it was.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm always surprised when people make a drive, but I've had people drive far to come see me. And
really?
Yeah, I just feel super grateful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's something special that, again, I think when you have the attunement, you need to go to it, because you can't, convenience is not always the answer.
No.
Yeah. Okay, so a normal Reiki session, a usual Reiki session would be the person comes in, explains what's going on to you. You guys talk for a little bit.
Yes.
You explain the session.
Yep.
And then they go get on the table.
Yes.
And then what?
They lay down fully clothed on the massage table. I cover them up with a light blanket, so that they, in case they have those waves of heat or cool, their body stays comfortable. And I call it a ritual that I do in the very beginning, just to kind of set the tone, and it helps me connect and tune in with everything I need support wise, and for you, the client, to relax. So I start with I'll put an eye cover on your eyes, and I'll have you take a few deep breaths of essential oils, and I'm scanning your body. I'm already starting the Reiki with my eyes, because you send Reiki, yes, I'm doing it with my hands, but I'm also doing it with my eyes. So I'm scanning your chakras, and I'm kind of warming them up, tuning them up. Anyway, I'll get back to the ritual. And then, so you're breathing a couple, settling in, and then I light sage to clear the energy. And then I will surround you in a circle of light with my crystal rose sound bowl, which is my favorite prized possession. And then I start the Reiki on your feet. I mean, I've already started, but I'll start by holding your feet, settling in. Again, I'm still going through your chakras. Kind of in my mind, how I feel about it is I'm warming them up, getting them ready for the big kahuna when I'm on them, when I'm working solely with them.
Yeah.
And then I go through, and I will go through your aura sometimes before, sometimes after, during. So that's always in play. And then I just work my way through your main chakras up to your head and then back down to your feet. Sometimes I go in order, sometimes I don't. There's that intuitive part of being a healer where I'll just have this nagging, I got to get to their head or I got to get to their throat or whatever. And so I'll skip because I'll have to get, okay. All right. Because I don't get to control where the Reiki goes. The Reiki goes, it has a higher intelligence. It goes where you need it most. So let's say you have a broken collarbone and you're in a lot of pain and, oh, whoops, my mic. And I want to help that pain. I can certainly have the intention of helping heal that pain, but the Reiki is going to go where you need it the most. So, and sometimes that intuitive voice guides me to where you need it the most.
Interesting. What's the end of the session like for the client?
So at the very end, I'll gently call you back, especially if you check out during the session. I have a nice calming way to call you back, and then I let you sit up in your own timing, and then we have a conversation about, hey, this is what I picked up as the practitioner. These are the areas. These are any messages that I've gotten, and I've gotten a couple messages, big messages for you. I don't always get messages for clients, but I do. They just pop into my head from who knows. And sometimes I share those, and sometimes I don't. And I just know whether I should or shouldn't.
Yeah.
And then I also have you share what you experienced with me, because I consider it an integration period where you can feel really out of it after a Reiki session. And I don't want you hopping in your car and driving down the road floating in the sky, you know, because you can just feel lightheaded. And so that gives us time to integrate. You talk about what you experienced versus letting it all go. You know, it's kind of like witnessing an accident. You want to make a statement right away, you know, so you remember the details, because as time shifts, you'll forget. And so that's one thing I think that you've done, is written down what you've experienced after your sessions so that you can remember. And I like to recommend that to my clients as well.
Yeah. Do you know anything about like theta brainwaves? Like, when the person is experiencing Reiki, are they going into certain states?
Yes, sometimes they are. I don't know the medical terminology behind it, but absolutely, that is the relaxation piece of it, is getting them into that theta state. So when they go into that meditative state, they often think they're sleeping, but they're not, because they will snore. But it's that theta state. They're so relaxed that they get to that place, which allows the body to calm down and be in that repair, healing mode.
Yeah, that part's important. What can people expect after the session once they go home?
A variety of things. I do have a list of things that I send my clients after a session. 99.9% of my clients will immediately report feeling grounded, centered, and lighter energetically. So, and I equate that to when you have a really big problem and it solves itself. You felt weighted down, heavy, man, and then it solves itself. And you're like, oh, I got that monkey off my back. Like, oh, I feel like $1,000,000, right? And that's what Reiki feels like. People will come see me. They won't even realize what they're carrying. And then they walk out of here and they're like, woo! They feel amazing, lighter. Sometimes that can take a few days.
Okay.
So you can want to walk on water out the door, or you can feel like you got hit by a Mack truck, because energy work is intense. and it's like running a marathon without any exercise if you've never done it before.
Mm-hmm.
So you can feel run down, you can feel tired, or the opposite, and that the rundown tired doesn't usually last more, I would say, than a few days. For me, my first time lasted a couple weeks.
Oh wow.
But I started to come out of it, and then you'll start, and it's so subtle, and so some people want to come in here and have me wave a magic wand, and I said, this isn't like that.
Yeah.
It's very subtle. It's gentle. You probably won't even realize it was the Reiki. You won't, a lot of people won't make the correlation that it was the Reiki that made them feel better, because it's so gradual and quiet.
Okay.
They can have emotions can come up if they don't come up in the session. They can just have an energy release of emotion. They can have aha moments. So a lot of times they'll just, all of a sudden something will click for them that hadn't clicked before. And
in the session or after?
After.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then afterwards, so I have a lot of clients that come see me because they're just stuck on something that their logical mind can't let go of.
Mm-hmm.
And the Reiki has this magical way of untethering them from whatever they're stuck to. So where they might have been hell-bent on something, in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe even sooner, they'll all of a sudden they won't care about it anymore. In the right way.
Yeah. But that typically happens faster than a few weeks? Like, could it take months?
I suppose, but it's pretty quick. It's pretty quick. I had one client that was in 12 years of therapy and unable to deal with a couple situations that were major trauma issues.
Yeah.
And after one Reiki session, she was able to knock them out of the park.
That's not the first time I've heard that type of story.
Mm-hmm.
There's a practitioner, I can't remember his name, that was doing hypnosis sessions, I think back in the 70s.
Okay.
And similar type of thing. He was working with very specific cases of people having somatic problems with no medical presentation. So they would go get scans and tests, and everything was negative. And so one woman in specific kept having these awful migraines. And he did hypnosis on her, and this is part of the generation stuff that we talked about previously. He was doing hypnosis on her and determined that in a past life, she was a male that tried to commit, or did commit, I guess, suicide by shooting himself in the head. And he did whatever in that session. They might have had multiple sessions. He wrote a book. I haven't read it yet, but I do have it. But they did the hypnosis, and then she was migraine free completely after that. And it's just like so wild.
It's the body storing trauma.
But it wasn't even her trauma.
I know, right? But
I know.
It's like the generations and the lineage, and I mean, that's a whole different conversation for another day.
People are always so surprised that as a nurse, as a clinical practitioner, I believe in as much of this like spiritual stuff as I do. I'm like, I've seen too much to not believe it. I don't know how anybody, clinical or otherwise, could go through what we go through, particularly in healthcare, and not believe in this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, like humans have souls. We have energy.
Yes.
So it's not just a body.
And the hospice nurses. I love all the nurses. I have a career, right, in HR, and I supported a hospice team for many years, and I follow a lot of hospice nurses on social media, and I just love all their stories. And there's a lot of nurses that are coming forward, because they're waking up and they're starting to get more information and wanting to share it with the world. So I'm not surprised at all.
Oh, thanks. That's interesting. Yeah, the hospice palliative care was always my favorite part in the ICU, which surprised me because you don't learn about that in nursing school, right? Like we learned about Reiki, we learned about some of the like healing touch and things like that, and it wasn't in a way where they were teaching it to us. It was just learning about it for some of like extra stuff, but it was like a day, it wasn't a whole course. But I always find this stuff really, really interesting. Do you find like balancing the metaphysical and the physical, like how do you approach that? Do you find that difficult?
In my daily life, or
Sure, or just in your practice in general?
no, 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 because I'm so connected.
Yeah.
But I also have a really good grasp on what we know reality to be.
Yeah.
So I don't.
Do you find other people do?
Oh yeah.
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 People are afraid of the Reiki, the healing, the metaphysical. A lot of people.
Even when they come to you, or you're talking about just people in general?
People in general. Sometimes they are skeptical when they come see me.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. Like, let me show you what we got. Let's see how you feel when we're done, and then you can tell me if you're still skeptical.
Yeah. Do they flip typically afterwards?
Uh-huh.
Like every time?
Oh yeah, almost every time. Yeah, I had one client that was going through. Everyone's always going through a really difficult time when they come see me, and she had saw past lives in her Reiki session. And that's one thing I forgot to mention is people. You have visions. You can have visions.
Yeah.
You can see flashes of lifetimes. In this situation, she saw past life, her and her son in a past life. So she knew that they had, and it blew her mind. It freaked her. It kind of freaked her out a little bit because she didn't believe in that.
Yeah.
At all. And so it opened up her eyes and her heart to something more.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. So she saw like a vision of a past life that they had lived generations prior.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't even their reality.
Right.
That's really cool.
Trippy.
Yeah. The past life stuff I want to dig more into. Like between that book, but like my therapist and I have done work on that. And there's stuff there. Like there's so much stuff there. And I've never heard of that before I was doing therapy. And she was telling me about some of it. But I'm interested to talk to more people about that and see.
You should find someone that does past life regressions and try it out. I haven't done it yet.
You're trying to like uproot my energy.
No. No. I mean, if you're read about it first and then decide.
I just remember coming out of that first session and I sat down and you kind of looked at me like you were not okay. And I was like, did I do something? And then you checked on me and you just said that it was a lot.
Yeah.
So what's it like for you? She talked about like what the client's going through. What is it like for you going through besides like the hands tingling?
Oh my gosh. For the most part, yeah, people always think that it takes something from me.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say there are times when it does take something from me, and that's when my self-care isn't at its best. So it's super important for me to be in good health, physically, emotionally, right? All those things. But for the most part, it really doesn't take anything. I just get so excited because I love doing Reiki so much that, oh my gosh, that was awesome. But when I've done a Reiki session and I have maybe been getting over a cold, which we talked about, not a good idea.
Yeah.
Not a good idea because I do take on. I just said, I know I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth. I don't take on what the client is, but in that instance, when I wasn't as healthy as I normally am, I did take a little bit of it on, and maybe I would say it differently, that it moves through me versus that I take it on.
Yeah.
Where sometimes I'm crying, tears are pouring down my face in the middle of a session, and that's just because it's just coming through me versus the client. So the energy is releasing through me. It's not taking anything from me.
Yeah.
So unless, there's been a couple clients that have been really hard. But for the most part, it's fine. I love it. I just have to make sure that I disconnect. I have this, I kind of like disconnect and like shake it off.
Yeah.
Sage myself, sage my house, that kind of thing.
That's cool. Is there any situations where someone should not be doing Reiki?
Receiving or giving?
Both, client first and then instructor?
The one for client wise, it's been my experience that people who are heavy alcohol abusers and drug users are not recommended. The alcoholics will go into, and like pot, people who chronically use marijuana, they get sick, really sick
On the
within minutes.
table?
Oh, yeah, they won't be like throwing up, but they get like pasty, they get pale, they feel like they have the flu. It's almost instant. And I've learned that just through experience. I don't ever remember being taught that,
Yeah.
but I've had clients of that nature, and it knocks them on their ass. And so that's why in my pre-questionnaire that I send my clients, I asked, are you a regular user of alcohol or drugs?
Huh.
And then if I get that, a yes, I'll call and screen to find out more about that before I proceed
Before
with
doing it.
the session.
What about if they're not a chronic user?
It's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Even if they use it like within 24 hours?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't recommend drinking and Reiki at the same time.
Yeah.
And I try to, I encourage my clients to avoid alcohol for at least 24 hours because alcohol is such a lower vibration. And we've just done all this high vibration work to raise the energy, to clear the energy, and then they'll come in and self-sabotage with alcohol. And I've been guilty of that myself.
Yeah.
You know, have super big healing weekend and then have some kind of party, and it doesn't undo it, but you just want the maximum benefit. So
from your session. I guess those type of substances do change your energy in a way.
Oh, they do. Absolutely, they do.
Yeah.
They're mind altering.
So let's see, you talked about the session and how it feels for you, and then how it feels for the client as well. Who shouldn't do it? How to prepare? Is there anything that people should prepare when going in?
That's a good idea. You know, eat light, hydrate. Make sure you don't have plans the next day or that day of, day of, because you can just feel overwhelmed and want to kind of be quiet. But I mean, there's really nothing that you have to do to prepare. If you want to boost your experience eating light, you know, don't eat a Big Mac and drink a Coke before you come in. Have a salad.
Yeah.
You know, eat light the day before.
Something nourishing.
Yes.
Nothing heavy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For all the gurgles.
And sometimes that happens to me the day before a client, and I won't recognize it until the client gets here. I'll have a day where I won't want to eat really anything, or it'll be very light food. And then the client shows up and I'm like, oh, that's why I wasn't hungry, because my body was preparing for the healing.
Oh. Are there other shifts that you've noticed?
Not like that. No, the other way, when we started talking about what happens to me, where
like in the session
or after, you know, like maybe I took on a job that was too big of, you know, sometimes I clear houses from energies and stuff. Or one time I did a house and it was too big of a job for me, and it was for a friend. But in the end, you know,
so much to clear.
Yeah, so much to clear. And sometimes it takes me a minute to tap in and realize that I'm carrying something that's not mine. It's not super obvious to me. I have to kind of put on that hat and tune in.
How can you tell a difference if it's yours or not?
The thoughts in my head are different, more negative.
Tell me more.
It reminds me of kind of like my thought pattern before I became a Reiki practitioner. I had a little bit more of a negative outlook. I've never been a negative person, but just a little bit more negative thoughts and outlook. And when I carry that from a client on with me, it usually takes me a couple days to realize, why are you thinking about that in that way? And then I'm like, and so I'll just do my little tricks to let go of the energy and send it on its way.
So is it your voice in the previous where it was more negative, or it sounds completely omniscient, I guess, like separate in a separate voice? Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. I don't have the ability to separate a separate voice from my voice. Everything sounds like my voice.
Okay.
So I never know.
But like even the texture of it.
Right. That's what is the signal to me of, wait, okay, we have some clearing to do here. That's not yours. And so I just release it, and then I'm back in business. And that happens really fast for the most part.
So you can do Reiki on things other than people.
Yes. And people who don't believe in distance Reiki, my favorite trick is to Reiki their coffee in the morning or their food or something. That's kind of my trick. But yeah, my cat, I Reiki my cat. You can Reiki your room. You can Reiki your food. You can Reiki anything.
What does it do?
It's just, think of it like people sage their house.
Yeah.
Changes the energy, kind of clears it out.
Okay.
So you're just bringing balance, peace, harmony, love into the space.
How does it change the food or the beverage?
I knew you were going to ask me this. And I was laying outside earlier. And I was thinking, I can't tell you that answer scientifically. I was like, could I tell her that it changes the molecular?
No.
And I was like, oh, hell no. It just does. I don't know what it does, but like wine, I can Reiki wine. So it's like a human aerator. So you don't need to decant your wine. Just call me. I'll just send your wine some Reiki and you'll be good. Or beer and pop are a fun one because it takes the bubbles out, so it makes it flat. Doesn't necessarily change the flavor of it, but it flattens it, so the big bubbles will turn small and it tastes flat. A lemony. I won't do alcoholic drinks anymore because I ruin those. I mean, sometimes we want to ruin it just for the demonstration.
Yeah.
But I don't want to waste somebody's drink. It's a party trick. We call it a party trick. But coffee, I just did it for my mom and her girlfriend when she was visiting. And because she's like, you can do this remotely? How does that work? And I'm like, I don't know. It just does. It's intention. It's all intention. And so I said, okay, call me in the morning when you're having coffee. And so we did. And her eyeballs are this big, and what did you do to my coffee? It tastes, I forget the word she used, tastes flat or it tastes different or.
There seems to be a very interesting correlation between Reiki and alcohol. If it's taking the bubbles out and it's also deflating the people as well.
Right. I like that correlation.
Yeah, you're taking the bubbles out of the people too. The alcoholic bubbles.
Yeah.
In a good way. That's another rabbit hole for me. Interesting. Yeah, you tried to Reiki my water last time, but I didn't taste a difference.
Yeah, water's tough because it's not so obvious, but coffee's a good one because you can really tell.
Yeah.
It has more flavor to manipulate, if you will.
Okay.
And I'm not manipulating. It's the Reiki that's just changing
the energy of the beverage.
And you can do it in such a light way that it doesn't make a big difference. I can Reiki my food and it just takes the edge off. You wouldn't even know there's an edge on your food. But when I'm making a demonstration, I'm going for it. So I always say, like, make sure your coffee is at the end because I don't want to ruin your cup of coffee, So just the longer I do it, the more it changes.
What about houses? You said you did houses too.
Yeah, I do. When I'm in a house, I do Reiki, but I'm more in that shamanic state of connecting with spirit and having conversations with stuck spirits that are, people call it a haunted house.
Yeah.
It feels disrespectful, but that's what it feels like when there's a ghost in your house, or I call it a spirit.
What would that feel like? Because it's not always kind of the poltergeist environment. I think people would equate it to be, right?
Right. It can be.
Yeah.
But it's just so scary because it's unknown. And, you can't, it's hard to believe something that you can't see. But if somebody has a spirit in their house, they know it most of the time. Light flickering, you could feel the energy itself because they're energetic. They're still, their soul is still alive.
Yeah.
They're not in physical form. They're in the next form. I think of it as like a ball of energy, and it feels like static electricity.
Okay.
People have you said, what does it feel like? But I don't know. It's kind of like an eerie feeling, when you drive by some old house and it just feels eerie. or weird shit's happening in the house. Doors are closing, lights are coming off and on. Those aren't things you can feel. They're
things you experience.
Right.
Yeah.
So I just go through the house and I'm just tuned in, feeling the energy, connecting. And once I connect with the spirit, I have a conversation with it and I talk it out. Mm-hmm.
How long does that take?
Well, it doesn't take that long, but I want to spend equal amounts of time in the house, kind of blessing it, putting all that good energy into each space. But once I connect with the spirit, it's pretty quick. Now I've gone into houses and connected with spirits, and they're there to stay. Like, and so I feel a little bad because I'm like, oh, you wanted these guys gone because it scares you, but they're protectors.
Oh.
They're here, they're guardians. I don't get the message why they're there. In that one instance, there were multiple spirits that were visiting and hanging out with this young child in her room in her nursery, and the parent, it freaked him out because they kept seeing it on the camera. And I went in there and I spent, to your point, like an hour. I said, no, it doesn't take very long, but like when they're stubborn and they're not going anywhere, I had to realize that they're here for a different purpose, even though we don't know what that is.
And they didn't tell you?
No, like guardian angels, But the way that I described their personalities, they had affirmed, oh, that's my uncle so-and-so. Oh, that must be his sister. Because I was like, this guy has a really military, I'm the boss. And these two are kind of like listening to whatever he says, and they're not going to go against
him.
The military. And it turns out he was, big in the military. And so I'm like, and I think it maybe gave him comfort to know who they were.
Yeah.
Even though I didn't get names or anything like that. Yeah.
That's really cool.
I don't do that a ton.
Interesting.
I love doing it, but I don't do it a ton. People don't really seek it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things I think that Reiki helps is it puts you on the path that you're supposed to be on. And, we all want a crystal ball. We want to know what that path looks like, but that would be boring if we knew where we were going and what we were doing. But life is finding you. Life happens for us, not to us. How does that saying go?
I don't know the saying, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Choosing life and choosing how you step through life, but also seeing other people where it kind of just happens at them.
Yes.
And kind of like driving on the interstate and you're using GPS and directions, where the other people are just merging when they feel like it without a clicker. And it's just interesting to see the way that people move, but also how that movement comes out in their life, but in what it's happening to them. Kind of like what you're saying, as if they're listening to the intuition or not. And I've always felt like a very intuitive person, which is like part of my attraction to all of this stuff.
Yeah.
But you can't ever make sense of it at the same time, and that's kind of the point. But it doesn't make any less frustrating.
It's learning to listen to the whisper.
It's yelling at me, though.
That's what then you need to listen, and you're doing it. You're listening. The yelling is happening, and that's what happens.
You're about to choke me out over here.
The more your energy shifts, the more you start listening to that inner voice. Like, you won't stay stuck as long. I would stay stuck forever. And, that's what Reiki's taught me, is to listen to that little whisper that started as a whisper. And in the end, it's like, hey, get out of here. It's time to go. Or, like
whatever it's saying.
Yeah, jump ship. I mean, my divorce was like that.
Oh,
that's the cat feeder. Must be 5 o'clock.
5:12. That was kind of spooky.
I know it scares people when they don't know what it is.
You said right after your divorce. It's like,
But yeah, no, you have that. I love that you said it's yelling at me, because that's my whole goal of teaching women. The reason why I want to teach women Reiki is because I want them to learn how to trust their inner voice. Because we spend so much time ignoring the whisper until it gets so loud. Yeah. And then we've spent this amount of time, and then we finally make a decision, and but once you get the skill set to learn to that whisper, your time span of staying in that significantly reduces.
Yeah. Yeah, I can attest to that. You specifically want to teach females?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for starts.
Mm.
I'll take male referrals, personal referrals.
Yeah.
But I want to speak to women specifically because I want that community of like-minded women to be supportive of each other.
Yeah. Do you feel like women are more naturally intuitive?
1,000%.
How come?
I think we were made that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have loving hearts and compassionate minds, and we're nurturers.
Yeah.
And we're in tune. We're meant to have babies and care for humans. And I think men are intuitive too. They just are less nurturing. And I don't know if that lack of experiencing nurturing precludes them or lessens their intuitive experience. They're less complex than women are. We're so emotional.
All the hormones.
Yeah. Just wait. You're still young.
I've started going down the menopause rabbit hole. That is a large topic, very large topic. But yeah, I want to learn more about that. I feel like men, this is one topic that I've been examining post-breakup. I feel like men are nurturing, but it's just different.
Yes.
And I'm trying to find the words for it still. Because I think societally, we've gone down a very dangerous path with splitting the sexes. I think a lot of it kind of comes from Me Too type stuff. And it's a balance because some of that's great, right? Because we don't want women to continue to be assaulted and all this other stuff that's been common for a long time. But sometimes I think social media take things a little too far and they silence the good ones. I hate to say it like that, but it's basically ostracized masculinity. And I don't think that that's a positive because I see it as both. I see it as yin and yang. You have to balance the two.
Totally agree.
And I think femininity is amazing and masculinity is amazing. And so figuring out the traits of each has been kind of my own personal endeavor to figure out how those marry up with each other, both in like relationships in life and just in the world in general.
Yeah.
So, but I feel like men are more on like the protector, provider side. But it's intriguing to me the more that I learn about the female form physiologically and how our bodies create literal life. It's hard to not come back to that metaphysical woo-woo conversation and how all of that mixes together. I think it's supposed to be mixed together. And that's one of the hard parts that I always had with healthcare is they just wanted it to be like this. Somebody died, on to the next one. Yeah. I was like, no, we need to have a second. Like, you need to let me breathe for a second. Because I just had somebody that even if I only knew them for 5 minutes before they passed, that was still a connection. That was still a human life. You're not going to just have me completely black that out and go on to the next. I know there's more people, but... And I think that was part of why I liked the hospice part of things so much when I was at the hospital, is you got to honor somebody a little bit more. And doing the post-mortem care was so important to me. And I remember when I went into COVID, that was really, really hard because it was just cycle. Like this person died and then across the hall that person died and across the hall that person died. Like I remember literally one day I had one and then the next person started and it was the same cascade. And then after that one was done, the next person started and it was the same cascade. And we just had 3 body bags roll down the hallway. And they put new people in like 5 minutes later. And I was like, you have half of your nursing staff on this one specific unit that's just cached. Because we've been fighting for our lives and somebody else's for 12 hours. And you're going to try to have us do it for the remaining however many that we have left for the day? Yeah. So I remember calling my dad at one point because I had done my first assignment in Chicago and they didn't do postmortem care. Like they didn't do it, no. And so I came from a hospital that was Christian based. And so there was a lot more presence with the chaplain and hospice and things like that. And that was just my expectation. So I had a patient pass And I turned to the nurse that was helping me. It's like, okay, so we need these things. She was like, why? I was like, because we have to do post-mortem care. She's like, oh no, they'll come and take care of that and take care of them and wheel them down. You don't have to do that. And I was not okay with that. And I was messed up for maybe a week after that. And I remember talking on the phone with my dad, and I was just like, I didn't get the opportunity to process that and grieve.
Mm-hmm.
And he's brought that up several times. He's like, you just have too big of a heart to do that job, which is sad because that's what you need.
No, I don't. I disagree. I don't think you have too big of a heart. I think that health system needs to adjust their practices.
Yeah, that's
And
what he means.
yeah. Right. I work in the Catholic healthcare system, and we have the chaplains and the nuns and the sisters. We call them the sisters, and their after death experience and rituals and traditions are so nurturing, and every life should be treated that way, right?
Yeah.
I can't imagine experiencing it any other way.
I know.
That's breaks my heart to hear that that's out there, because I don't know any different, you know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't either. Yeah. It's more common than not. Wow. Other people will take care of it and the nursing staff won't, which I think is wrong personally, because nursing started that way, right? With nuns and like Florence Nightingale and all that stuff. It was just so much more nurturing, and I don't like how much it's turned into just a corporatized turnover.
Mm-hmm.
Well, getting back to Reiki, we talked a bit about how it affects the mind and the body and kind of balancing metaphysical and physical. What do people misunderstand about Reiki the most, if we haven't covered any of that?
Oh, I think that some people think it's evil. Yeah. And I would say, just like there's God and the devil, and just like there's darkness and there's light, the same goes with energy practices. Mm-hmm. There's good energy and there's bad energy. Yeah. And Reiki is only positive energy. And as long as you're not manipulating that energy and it's flowing in its own way, it's all wonderful and positive. There's nothing bad about it.
So people think it's like witchcraft and like you're putting spells on people or something?
Yeah.
Oh. But you're just releasing the energy that's already there, essentially, right?
Okay. Yeah, moving it, shifting it.
Yeah.
So, but I think that comes from mostly faith-based people that are very much into their faith and religion and the things that they've learned in their scriptures. Yeah. I have a lot of Christian clients that come see me and Hindu clients that come see me, and but there are some people just on the other end of the spectrum that aren't comfortable, and that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah. Teach their own.
Yeah, I'm not here to convince anybody. I know what it does. I know what it's done for me, and I see what it does for my clients, and that's why I love doing it. Yeah. It's so fun.
Do people often come back or need to?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they will, but they don't come back frequently. It'll be, a few months, or if they're coming, they might come 2 or 3 times. Mm-hmm. But I'll see them maybe once a year. Something will come up, and they'll come back, or they'll get on a regular routine. But mostly, it's something that triggers. They're like, oh my God, I need help. I'm calling Jackie. Yeah.
So you only see people in crises?
Yes. Yeah.
Same. I can register.
Yeah.
So there's not like a set, like, okay, you need 3 sessions to work through this type?
No, I'll know that intuitively. I will tell the client, like, hey, I recommend they take at least 2 weeks to integrate, because there can be some big shifts that happen. But I'll say, I think sometimes I need 2 sessions. I just can't get through it in one. I mean, sometimes I need 3. I've never needed more than 3. Okay. Ever. And that's rare. Like 2 is usually good. 1 is most of the time fine, sufficient.
Just an hour?
It's 90 minutes from start to finish. So you're getting about an hour of Reiki.
Okay. It feels like so much longer when you're in there. Mm-hmm. It's trippy. I wanted to ask about the, you said the cord cutting in the beginning, and then there was something else.
Oh, the soul retrieval?
Yeah. Can you talk about each of those and what each of those are?
Yes. So I'll start with cord cutting because that's a term. Cut the cord. You've heard cut the cord. Um, we have energetic ties with the people in our lives, and they're not bad, they're not good, they just are. And so sometimes somebody's having a hard time getting over their, most of the time they'll having a hard time getting over their ex or something like that, so they'll come to me and I'll work on the cord cutting, and I just energetically can feel kind of where those cords are. They can be anywhere in your physical body, and what I do is I just work to push that energy back to the person. So I'm not cutting anything. It's called cord cutting, but I'm moving it, shifting it back to that other person so that you're free of the entanglement of that energy. Sometimes it's very stubborn. Sometimes it goes back really easy.
That's just a one session type thing, or?
Typically, that would be it. It could be a one session, but it's not usually in the first session. So you'd have a Reiki session, and then you'd come back. And we do a Reiki session, but the main focus would be the cord cutting.
The second time around?
Mm-hmm.
Why not the first time?
It can be too much. It can be too much all at once for one person, especially if it's a first time client that hasn't had Reiki. And I get a lot of those. So I need to get in attunement. I need to know how you respond to the Reiki. And then I just can tell, are you ready for this? I can feel it intuitively.
I was surprised when I came out of mine that you said I didn't need a cord cutting. Just didn't feel it.
No, I didn't feel anything. Maybe somebody else might feel it or tell you that you need it, but I didn't pick up on it. So
does the other person feel it that's not getting the Reiki session done, that's having the cord cut?
No, but I mean, not technically, but a lot of times they will pop up. They'll call. You'll get a call where you haven't talked to the ex in 9 months, and all of a sudden we do the cord cutting and bring bring, or you'll get a text. So technically they don't feel it, but a lot of times that person pops back into their life for a brief moment.
Is that the same as like when people haven't had a cord cutting, but they often say like, oh, just when you're starting to get over them, they come back? Is that the same type of thing? Even if they're not getting the cord cutting done? It's like that energy shift?
Yeah. I mean, in theory, yes. I think that you could equate that in that way. I know. And then the soul retrieval part.
Oh, yeah.
That one is really interesting. Some people call me specifically for a soul retrieval. And again, that's the same thing with the cord cutting. I'm like, okay, come in. And we'll start with the Reiki, and then I'll know if they're ready for the soul retrieval. What, in essence, what it is, and I like to use veterans as an example. They go to war, they experience immense amounts of trauma, and then they come back with PTSD. Yeah. A fragment of their soul is left behind, which I think is a part of that PTSD. I'm not going to, I shouldn't use those terms because they're medical terms, and I'm not a doctor. You're a nurse, but in the energy world, that's how I see it. And so then this happens like with childhood trauma, sexual abuse, right? You like a piece of it's like you leave your body, a piece of your soul leaves your body. So then you have fragmented pieces of your soul. So sometimes I'll be in the middle of a Reiki session. The client doesn't even know anything about a soul retrieval. And there's this little soul that it's like, and I'll say, hey, did something like traumatic happen to you around 7 or 4 or 11? Or, I can't really tell what age they are, but I have a sense of what age they are. And they'll look at me with big eyes and say, well, it's not something they've disclosed to me. And I'm like, well, this little girl wants to come back. She's ready to be reincorporated into your heart. So we just have a conversation and we bring that fully back into her heart. And so then she's full and whole, and it's really emotional. It can be really emotional for me, for the client, for everybody. I mean, I've had like little souls like hiding around the corner, like, and I'm like, no, you're ready. You're here. Let's go. We're doing this in the most gentle, loving, kind way, So
like in the middle of the session?
And, I always feel like an ethical, moral responsibility to this is like, say it happened in our session and we've never had this conversation, and you got this little soul piece that wants to come back in, and I'm like, oh, I haven't had the conversation with her. But what I've started to do is just like, hey, look, if you show up and you're ready to go back into like your energetic body, then I'm all in. And I will let it happen, and then I'll share. But I struggled with that in the beginning because I always felt like I needed your permission.
Yeah.
Because no practitioner should be doing Reiki on anybody without their permission, ever. Ever, ever, ever. You always need someone's permission, unless they're unconscious, and then you can do your thing. But that's a big, big, big important thing for me.
That's your rule, not the Reiki's.
It's a Reiki rule.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, but people will be like, hey, will you send my kid Reiki? Well, okay, if they're under 18, yes. But if they're over 18, no, I'm not doing it, I won't. Not unless they give me permission.
So this is this like an intuition thing? Like they have to say yes to receive that energy shift?
It's ethics.
Just ethics in general.
Yeah, it's ethics. Because where I talked about earlier, where people will use energy to manipulate situations, like should never be any type of manipulation. This isn't really that. This is just doing something without someone's permission is not okay.
Cool.
Yeah, not okay at all.
I just didn't know if a Reiki wouldn't work the same way.
Oh,
if
no,
you were doing it without permission.
No, it would still work.
Okay.
It's just not the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Manipulating somebody's energy. So if the little soul comes in and you haven't got permission yet, you've started integrating, or sometimes you ask?
I will have a conversation with the client on the table.
Okay.
And I'll just say, hey, and I don't like to interrupt.
Yeah.
But that's how I've resolved it for myself, because I find myself in a panic, like, wait, what are we gonna do? She didn't give me permission. You're here. You're ready. Like, okay. So I'll just describe what's happening. And it's, like I said, it's usually emotional, because there will be something that happened at that phase in their life that brings up the emotion. And then in they go.
Yeah. I've done parts work in therapy, which sounds very similar to that. It's not my favorite, but I've warmed up to it progressively over the years. So that's kind of cool. That's an interesting thought about the PTSD. I hadn't considered it like that, but that makes sense. So if somebody's experiencing the trauma or the flashes, whatever they're experiencing in that moment that's making them physically respond, is your thought that that soul or that piece is still over there experiencing that, and it's like connecting back in a way?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a part of it.
Yeah.
A fraction of it.
Yeah.
I would love to figure out how to get grant money to do, I've thought about this. I just don't even have the mental capacity to figure out how to even do it, because I would need grant money to do it. And I don't know who gives grant money for woo-woo shit, but a firehouse and veterans, I would love to do a study where, a firehouse, all the firemen get Reiki once a month, because they deal with a lot of trauma. Loving environment, right?
EMTs too, probably.
Yeah. And then see how they respond to their daily life, their relationships, their stress level, right? If they had Reiki once a month for a year versus a firehouse that didn't. And same with veterans that have PTSD, to do a study on them. Like, give me 50 veterans, man. Oh my God, line them up. Let's go. Because it's so beneficial, but I just have no idea. Like, I gave up. That's like a pipe dream. I gave up on that because I don't have that much time.
A lot of red tape.
I'd have to quit my job, and so that I have to be paid, and I don't know how to make that happen. So
that would be a really interesting study.
I know it would blow the socks off people.
Yeah.
I just know it.
I don't guess you could prescribe Reiki if that wound up to correlate to really improving people's outcomes.
Yes, but we're a long ways from that, but maybe getting closer.
Of prescribing Reiki? How come?
Oh, because it's not, you can't, it's like a massage. You can't even get a massage on insurance anymore. Barely. Like, you have to pay out of pocket. And Reiki, let alone Reiki, is, uncharted territory, lack of studies. there's been a few studies that are out there that are pretty amazing. They did this study. I have it on my Instagram, in England. I think it was the UK, where they did Reiki on healthcare workers during COVID.
Yeah.
And it significantly reduced their stress, their anxiety, and their willingness to cope. But you just don't find a lot of that.
Yeah. You were listing people, I was about to say nurses, post-COVID in particular would probably be the same thing.
1,000%. And I had a few of them come see me.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Are you finding that that's typically the clientele that you're find you? Like, is there like similarities? Does that make sense?
With the nurses or just in general?
Are you seeing a lot of the same type of careers and people come find you?
Oh, okay. No, it's all over the board.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So just lifing at people and they're coming to deal with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of them with anxiety or fear, relationship transitions, career transitions, just feeling stuck, heavy, weighted down. I don't feel like myself. Okay, let's see if we can get some of this. I call it mud. You can't see it, but let's
clear it out.
Let's get it out.
Is this for people with generalized anxiety, or you're saying more of a situational anxiety?
Both. Mm-hmm.
So could this benefit people who are on generalized anxiety medications?
It helped me.
To come off them entirely?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But I got attuned to it.
Yeah.
But I think I have some reviews on Yelp from years ago where they'll come in with something stuck in their throat, and they will describe it as anxiety because everybody experiences anxiety differently in their body, right? And poof, it's gone. They're out the door and they're like, man, I feel so much better.
No more meds?
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I know we have an increasing rise of use of those kind of medications with people, particularly I think post-COVID, being more remote, social media,
Isolation.
the news, like just everything in general. So I always like to lean on the more holistic practices because I learned a little bit too much about all of that stuff.
Yes.
The more you know is not always helpful.
No.
So, well, is there anything that you want people to know as we close? Anything they need to take away?
Oh, I would say like life is hard.
Yeah.
And you're not meant to do it alone. And if something's not working or you don't even have any idea, try something new. Try the Reiki. See if it helps you. It's not going to be instant.
Yeah.
It's not going to be, again, waving that magic wand, but it can help you significantly in a really subtle, gentle, loving, nurturing way.
Yeah. It's definitely been helpful for me. It's been fun.
I know. I was going to ask you, like, put you on the spot. Like, what have you noticed?
Since the first session, you had said like the post response was going to be what it was. So like you might feel like dancing, you might feel like listening to specific music, you might sleep really well. There's a few other things.
That's a big one I forgot to mention.
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah.
But then like I'm trying to remember when I had it done. I think it was January.
It was.
And I was still working through a lot of stuff. I started doing breath work at the same time too, so I had two kind of big woo-woo ethereal, if you will, experiences happen at the same time. But with this, I wouldn't say I felt a shift immediately. I felt improvements a couple of weeks about my breakup, because that's why I came in, a couple of weeks after the January session. But it was just like this the whole time with my breakup.
Mm-hmm.
And I went on my trip to New Zealand. Did I tell you about this? And literally the 2 days before I went, I was a mess. It was like the whole thing had happened again, and I was just sad and exhausted and thinking about all this stuff. And I went and I had my trip and I had lots of memories and XYZ. And then I came back and I have not been the same since I crossed that day line coming back to Phoenix. So my health has been a mess. I was jet lagged as hell. I've moved apartments, and it's like one thing has just devolved into another. And I'm at the point where I'm at now of I don't even know if I want to stay here anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But kind of like I was talking about earlier, is I went back to Nashville to be around my family for a couple weeks, just to be out of Phoenix, just to be in a new environment. And things have shifted that I didn't even really realize had shifted. And I don't know at what point that happened
Mm-hmm.
or why, like what caused it. It's probably all of it.
It is.
It's all the culmination of it. I find it interesting with my trip. There has to be something that happened there. I don't understand it. I'm tired of trying to figure it out, so I'm not going to.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, something's shifted. And it's just, it's like you were saying earlier, it's not that I don't care, but I'm just not activated by it anymore. Like, I don't care. Like, it still is personal to me. It's something I still care about. Like, it's still a part of my life and my experience. And at the same time, it's guided me to move in a different way.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily, like, I feel like I'm a different person, but it's also not that I feel like I'm a completely different person. It's that I feel like I'm more of myself.
Yes. Yeah, more grounded. You're more in your skin. You're in
Yeah.
your body. You're in your heart. That's the perfect example of what Reiki does for people. And for you, I mean, I'm not saying it's just the Reiki. You've done a lot of work. You've done the therapy. You're doing the breath work. You've done the Reiki. But that is like the perfect example of it's just better, and you don't really know why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense, but it doesn't have to.
It doesn't need to. All that matters is it's working. We don't need to know the why behind it.
Yeah.
Nurse Alex.
Where can people find you?
Oh, I am on SoulJoy, SoulJoy.net online. I'm on Instagram, SoulJoy Reiki, and on Facebook, same handle, SoulJoy Reiki. And hopefully I'll have a landing page for some training in the next 6 months.
I want to see it.
Yeah.
That's going to be good.
Yeah.
You're going to do it at some point. It's going to happen.
I am. I need to teach other people how to do Reiki, because doing Reiki on one person at a time isn't a big enough impact. I want you to do Reiki, and I want you to do Reiki, and I want you to do Reiki so you all can heal the world or yourselves. And then it ripples. Yeah. So that's my whole purpose and intention behind teaching, is to have a bigger ripple. Yeah. And it's my passion. So it's fun. Yeah. Yeah.
That's a beautiful intention.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for talking.
You're welcome.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was fun.
Good. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. If you found it helpful, please like and subscribe, or share it with someone else who might find it interesting. You can always reach out to me, leave a comment, or find me on Instagram at Health Recoded Podcast if you have any questions or any topics that you want covered. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you guys next week.